Welcome to Cyber CEO, wherein we talk about how our cyberbackers helped our cyber CEOs take their businesses to the next level. Cyber CEO is powered by Cyberbacker, the world's leading provider of admin support services from anywhere in the world to anyone in the world. Please visit our website www.cyberbacker.com for more details. Good day, another episode of Cyber CEO. Again, my name is Jello. I'm your host. We are very lucky to have one of our awesome Cyber CEOs on the show today. Ashley, how are you doing this morning?
I am good. Thanks so much.
All right, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so let me ask you, how long have you been with Cyberbacker?
I have been with Cyberbacker for about a year and a half now.
A year and a half, and how has it been so far?
Amazing. Amazing. I can no longer imagine my life or business without her.
Without your own cyberbacker. All right. Of course, for the benefit of our listeners today, Ashley, can you tell us something about yourself?
I live in Illinois in the US, and I run a real estate team as well as I'm a full-time real estate business coach. I also coach some other small business on the
Mhm.
side outside of that. I happen to own a real estate leverage company as well. And gosh, my family, we farm.
Wow.
I've got a 2-year-old, a couple dogs, so we stay plenty busy.
Very, very busy. How do you cut your time? That's a lot of things to do in a day. That's why you have your own
Time blocking,
time blocking and your
time
cyberbacker.
blocking in Cyberbacker. Yes,
Awesome, awesome, Ashley. All right. So, Claudette is your cyberbacker, am I right? How is it
yes,
working with her so far?
she's amazing. She is amazing. I'll be really honest that at first I was a little hesitant when we jumped in because Claudette had actually been working with another coach who decided to stop coaching. And so what happened is about the time that I put a call into Cyberbacker,
Hmm.
she was being let go from her other coach. And I did not go through the traditional interview process, none of that. I put my full faith in what the leadership at Cyberbacker had said, and they're like, "We have the perfect person for you if you trust us here." And I was like, "We're going to give this a go." And it has been truly a match made in heaven ever since. By far, one of the most reliable people I have ever had work for me, and in any of my businesses or career path. And
Hmm.
um, she just is all around a good person. So I love having her.
All right, so good person also saved you a lot of time. So, just for our listeners to know, by the way, Ashley, of course, a lot of them don't really know what a cyberbacker can do. So, what does Claudette do for you in your business?
Yeah, so I have her work primarily in my coaching business. So what she does for me is she is on every single one of my client calls. Every time I'm talking with a client about their business, she's there listening in. And at first I thought it was crazy because I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna hire this person to take notes for me."
Hmm.
I just felt so distracted when I was working with a client because I was always having to stop and take notes, or I was typing and not listening. And it just was like, okay, maybe this is silly, yet people tell me that this is great. And so it started very simple as that. It was like, oh my gosh, I just need someone to take notes and send those notes out to the clients and get that piece off of my plate. And it very quickly morphed into a whole lot more. For a period of time, she actually worked with me in my real estate business as well
Hmm.
and did some data entry, some transaction work for me. We are back now to where she works 100% in my coaching business. And she has been instrumental in creating processes and systems that allow me to operate more efficiently so that every day when I show up to coach, I am focused 100% on my clients and the growth of my business. And what's been amazing is since having her, not only in the first, I would say the first 9 months or so that I
Hmm.
had her, I was actually able to double the client load that I
Wow.
had, which allowed me to essentially double my revenue. right? And so when I got that time back, I could do twice as much work and therefore earn twice as much money. Since then, she's also one of my biggest critics, right? So because she's on one of my calls, she's one of my go-to people to give me feedback. How am I sounding today? What are you hearing today? What do you think about this client? What do you think we should do here? And she's always there to give me a lot of great feedback. And it's been amazing because not only did she allow me to double the size of my schedule, because of the growth I was able to have as a coach, I've now been able to take even an additional opportunity in a leadership position with our company.
Wow.
and launching some new products and new things in that coaching world that I wouldn't have dreamed of the day I hired her. And so through all of that change, she's right there with me through every bit of it, adapting new systems, new processes. She is the keeper of my calendar. I will tell you that is probably one of the other most important things she does is she runs my schedule so that every day I just show up, I see what's on it, I click the button, and I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing in a moment without having to think about it or prepare or gather documents or any of that. So she does so much. She handles my email. Like there are days I sit back and go, how does she do it? Like I literally have asked myself how she handles it all, and yet she does it, and she does it amazingly. So yeah, that's just a few of the things that she's handled for me.
So just to sum up everything that you mentioned, then Claudette has been very impactful to you and your business, not just business, but also personally, because you also had time back for yourself. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. And I say this to her jokingly, but in all seriousness all the time. I'm like, you can never leave me. Like you can never leave me. So she is. I make sure she knows how much she is appreciated in my world because truly, our relationship, our partnership is such that I really couldn't do what I do without her. Right? I just couldn't. And so it's I intend to keep her for as long as she is absolutely willing to stay. And it's been great too, because I've gotten to know her a lot more as a person. And that can be challenging when you're working with somebody virtually, right? We've never met in person. And so thank you to social media and us just having some other conversations. I've gotten to know her more as a person, get to know a little bit more about her family. Have been right there alongside her throughout the last year as she's had some health issues with her kids and just issues with her home and storm damage that had happened in the past year, and just really helping her through all of that. So, so that she can continue to show up as her best self and never have to be worried about any of those other things too. So that's been the other part, is she's helped me grow a lot just as a leader and what it means to really have a true partner in business.
So imagine from what you're saying, then this is already considered a very, very successful partnership. Now, how did you get to this stage of successful partnership?
That wasn't for lack of effort. I would say early on, it definitely, the first few months wasn't quite like that, right? It felt very transactional, and it took actually a lot of effort on my side to know it's like there's a human being on the other side of that computer screen who with those headphones on, right? I don't see her on camera a lot, or that the other side of the text message or the email. And so really it just came through those more personal conversations, right? Asking questions, getting to know her, and just always offering and extending that helping hand to make her feel just as equally a part of my world as any of the people that work for me in my local area that actually see me in person on a daily or weekly basis. But yeah, at first, I would say that was one of the struggles, right? It's this person you've never met, you don't really see them. And so building a connection is something that you actually have to put some effort into. And yet, I think that all starts with, to your guys' quote, the cyber CEO really acknowledging this isn't just a service that you hire. This is a person that you are hiring into your business.
Yes, again, this is going to be a two-way street, of course, from our cyber CEOs, from our cyber backers as well. Because if you don't try, of course, give effort to become, let's say, close to the cyber backer, but not just transactional, then I don't think this kind of relationship is going to work, right?
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned earlier that she's been in a couple of roles, did a few tasks here and there, but now she's fully onto your coaching business. Now, what are some of the things that you're considering having her do for you and your business in the future?
Oh, yeah, that's
Mhm.
exciting stuff. I don't even know if she knows some of these things yet, so we'll just air it out right here. Honestly, we are actually in a huge transition phase. So as I mentioned, there's kind of a new opportunity that's been created in the coaching world, and
Mhm.
so she's going to be very instrumental in getting a lot of that up and running. And a lot of this new world is going to require very, very intense
Mhm.
organization, right? Very high attention to detail. And that is, while I'm a detail person, I do
Mhm.
not lack her organizational skills. I would be lost without her constant reminders, her constant check ins, her constant updates, being like, did you do this? Did you remember that? She really is like the keeper of my world. And so some of the things she'll be doing in the future, it really won't change a whole lot, right? She's still going to be on calls with me. She still does a lot of the note taking. She's still going to be doing emails and scheduling.
Mhm.
And yet, more of what's going to change for her in the future is just her ownership of some systems and helping me build some things out to support the new products that we're developing.
That's awesome. Again, growth for not just you, of course, for your cyberbacker as well. Who wouldn't be excited about that, right?
Yeah.
All
And
right.
she's finally exploring some growth opportunities too. And that's a
Mhm.
conversation we've had is, she listens to these calls all day where I'm talking to people about their goals
Mhm.
and their businesses. And I asked her the same one day. I said, so what are your goals? How are you growing your business? And she has recently decided to pursue some opportunities within Cyberbacker as well to help her continue to grow. So I'm really excited about just the changes that we're making. She and I both are going to be working less hours
Mhm.
without her having to take a pay cut, which is really great, and giving her time for her to then go be able to grow her career and continue to grow her business in the cyber world. And gosh, she does so much like community involvement and giving
Mhm.
back and things too, just to allow her the time to be able to do more of that and spend with her kids is going to be awesome.
Imagine that. A lot of growth for you and your cyberbacker. Who wouldn't be excited? Now, these let's say these kinds of relationships, they could be not rocky, but they could have opportunities as well. So, what have been some of the opportunities that you've had working with cyberbacker?
Oh man. I will say in my experience and
Mhm.
keep in mind I work with a lot of businesses who also have hired cyberbackers. I probably one of your guys' top referrers.
Yes,
Um,
awesome.
so I work with a lot of businesses that also have cyberbackers, and I would say I think a common theme that we've seen are a challenge is you know giving them that space and that freedom to really speak up, right, to
Mhm.
push back on us. And when they know that there's a better way to do something or a different way of not always asking permission but just do it. So that was a challenge that we faced early on. And again, just through conversation, half the time now I look up and she's like, oh, I've already done X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, thank you. And wasn't even aware of some of the things she was working on or doing behind the scenes. I think one of the other challenges is, or at least I have not experienced this, and
Mhm.
yet I've heard from some other folks, is you guys have such unique weather in your area. And so
Yes.
power outages can happen, internet outages. And when you work virtually like that, you're so dependent on it. Another reason our partnership has worked so well, she's prepared. They have a generator at their house.
Yes.
If there's ever like scheduled outages or anything, like she lets me know ahead of time. um, we've never really had to worry about that. Obviously, if it's a safety issue, that's a different story. But
Yes.
I mean, for the most part, we've had very little disruptions simply because she has been so proactive in making sure she's prepared that she can always show up to work no matter what.
Yes, that's actually one of our main goals here. No matter what the weather, no matter what happens, you still have that
Hmm.
backup for you to be able to be there for your cyber CEOs. So,
Yeah.
Ashley, this is going to be my last question for you today. There are still a lot of people right now that are having second thoughts, something that's stopping them from hiring their own cyberbacker. What advice would you be able to give them?
don't wait would be number one. I waited until I was desperate for the hire, which is funny because this is what I coach people in business never to do, right? I waited until I was desperate for the hire, and I threw her into a muddy puddle. I would definitely advise, don't wait. If you're thinking about it, do it now. And the other piece of advice I would give is to have patience with training. One of the beauties with your company is that you guys do some of the training on the front end, so that when the cyberbacker comes to you, they have a lot of basic understandings. They can speak the same lingo and language of our business, and yet every single person's business is different. Yes. Everyone's standards are different. You know, I think if you're expecting this person to just come in and be all of a sudden like your savior for whatever problem it is, it's going to fail. Right? Really allowing them the time and the patience to train them, to give time to them, to make sure you're setting clear expectations and you're building some things out together in those first couple months, I think it's critical. And after about 90 days, I would say, is when we really turned the corner and it started feeling more like a well-oiled machine. But don't wait to make the hire, and be patient once you do with just some of the learning curves. I would say my last piece of advice too would just be all about feedback, right? Do not be hesitant to give feedback to your cyberbacker or to cyberbacker as a company, because in my experience so far, you guys have been amazing at how you handle that feedback and then make changes moving forward.
Of course. That's actually our priority here, not just our cyber CEOs, but of course for our cyberbackers as well. So lastly, do you have anything, maybe a shout out to Claudette? I know she'll be listening to the episode once we have it online.
As there's always a shout out for Claudette, and today of all days, because she is actually off today with one of her kiddos right now going through a tough time, and so just we're sending her all the love, all the positive vibes, all the prayers to her family. And, you know, as always, Clouds, thank you for everything you do. Don't ever leave me. That's always my shout out.
I don't think she is ever going to leave. I think she really loves working with you, Ashley. Now, for all of our listeners, if you'd like to, of course, have your own cyberbacker and save more time for yourself and for business, just visit our website, of course. And Ashley, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate you being on the show today. We have a great day. Take care now. Thank you for listening to our daily dose of Cyber CEO. Stay tuned to know more about how Cyberbacker creates a difference in this digital time and age. You can visit our website www.cyberbacker.com and follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Spotify.